Dead by Daylight is a game that so desperately lacks balance in all areas, but sorely requires it. Hi, hello, I am a filthy Dead by Daylight killer main, and so I'm putting my nasty ideas out into the world. Since it seems that behavior is intent on not fixing issues that are actually broken in Dead by Daylight, let's talk about a mechanic that I think does need a wrench. When a killer uses a hex perk, as soon as it's cleansed, it disappears for the rest of the match, leading to no value unless you bring a secondary perk like Undying. That's BS, because survivors can keep using their same boon perk again and again and again. Boons should carry just as much risk as a hex totem. And since I don't see behavior ever folding Shattered Hope into killer base kit, here's how I would balance out each one of the boons. Starting with Boon Circle of Healing. I'm one of the rare killer mains that thinks that the ability to self-heal within a boon range was not a problem. So first off, I would bring that back and add a little balance to what I'm about to suggest. Allow the survivors to heal themselves within a boon. However, I would like to see a change to the structure of Circle of Healing and make it more similar to the Felix perk built to last. Essentially what that means is when the boon is first lit, a survivor can heal themselves or others at 100% speed. However, if that boon is snuffed out or relit to another totem, self-healing and healing of others is reduced to 75% speed. And on the third relight of that boon, healing speed for self and others is reduced to 50% speed. After that, the boon cannot be lit a fourth time. Therefore, if the killer manages to find that boon again and again, they can continue to snuff it until the survivor has no potential to self-heal within a Circle of Healing boon. Next boon is Dark Theory. Initially, this gives a 2% haste boost and lingers outside of the boon depending on the color of perk you have. I really enjoy seeing this in the wild because I don't see it often, so I don't think it needs much of a balance because it's not used often. What I do think is necessary is turning it into a quasi-exhaustion perk. Having free haste with the ability of stacking that with something like Sprint Burst or Lithe or even Balanced Landing can be a make or break situation for certain slower killers in the game. To balance this boon, when a survivor steps in the radius of this boon, they immediately become exhausted, reducing the ability of this stacking with things like Lithe, Balanced, even Dead Hard. And so when groups come in to exploit this perk along with others, as often I see at my high MMR, it helps slower movement killers, specifically like Huntress. Third boon is Exponential. This grants faster recovery while within the boon. Exponential is one that I do not see often unless it's with a 4-stack group, and usually it's folded in with 3 other boons. So there's one spot on the map that is massively overbuffed. With perks in play like Conviction, this boon can easily become exploited in the wrong hands. The way I think this boon could be rebalanced is by putting it on a token system. When a boon is activated, the survivor who lit it gains 3 tokens. If any survivor picks themselves up within that boon range, 1 token is consumed. When all 3 tokens are consumed, the totem shatters. This prevents exploitation of a singular boon, while providing 15 opportunities to get yourself up off the ground if left slugged. And in a regular match, there's quite literally no reason why survivors would be slugged up to 15 times and left on the ground to bleed out. In a regular match, there's obviously going to be the outliers, like that one horribly annoying Ghostface who used to slug everyone and not hook until everybody was on the ground. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But those outliers are few and far between. The fourth boon is Illumination. This allows survivors to see gens and chests auras while within that boon. This is a fairly weak perk if I'm being honest. I think I've seen it maybe 4 times since release. If I see it at all, it's folded in with other boon perks. I think you could actually buff this a little bit by giving it some gen speed increase, with the only caveat that if this boon is snuffed, it shatters immediately. With aura information and speed, the trade-off would be that it can only be used up to 5 times. And not every totem spot is conducive to get value from it, so you would have to play strategically. And the last I want to talk about is Shadow Step, where scratch marks and aura are suppressed within the boon. Again, this is a fun perk to see in the wild, but I really only see it with Swift groups, leading to heavy exploitation. One survivor will take chase into the boon, another survivor will appear from behind a wall, and then take chase while the injured survivor disappears, making some games last incredibly long because the killer is trying to find the survivors, or it makes it incredibly fast because 2 survivors can keep exploiting the boon's power while the others work on gens. I've seen groups where they've come in with all 4 of them with Shadow Step and light every single boon on the map. While I have some problems with it, I think it's a fairly balanced perk. It's not used often by solo queue players, and there is risk if you're going against a strong killer. What I would change about this boon is that while you're inside of it, since your scratch marks and aura are being suppressed, the survivor also becomes oblivious and blind, not being able to use informational perks like windows of opportunity, and will not be able to hear the terror radius of a killer that might be searching for them. They'll have to rely more on context clues of ambient sounds that some killers make, crows flying off in the distance, or the simple pitter-patter of footsteps, making it a more strategic perk rather than a free hide your aura and hide your scratch marks perk. Losing chase and aura can be game-changing and game-ending for some killers. And balancing this out would reduce the major advantage that some survivors get against certain killers. With that being said, keep it cute in the comments. If you don't like my ideas, keep on scrolling.